Hey guys, what's up? Russ here. Today I'm doing a comic book tag video started by Comics with Murdoch, and it is the Mount Rushmore of comics. And what he wants is your top 4 influential comics in your collection. Mount Rushmore of comics. Not necessarily the most valuable comics, but the most influential comics in your collection. The characters and stories that meant the most to you over the years. So let's get started. Number 1 for me on my Mount Rushmore of comics is without a doubt Action Comics 688. You might be thinking, that's a random issue. Yes, it is, and it has 0 monetary value, but it has 1,000% sentimental value to me, and it's right up here on my wall, the original copy I got back in 1993. Let's take a closer look at it and I'll tell you about it. This book is number 1 on my Mount Rushmore of comics because this is the first comic I ever bought as a kid and the one that started my collection and my love for comics. It's not an exaggeration to say, if I hadn't discovered comics as a kid and had that world to escape into, I honestly don't know if I would be here today. So this comic and Superman fueled my love for the entire comic book world, man. Superman will forever be my number 1 favorite character for DC. My number 1 favorite character for Marvel, however, is Captain America. Again, been a fan of his since I was a kid. Shortly after I discovered Superman comics, I discovered Captain America. Granted, at the time, it was the Rob Liefeld run. Because it was the early 90s, or it might have been mid-90s by that point, I believe. But I did go back and read a bunch of older Captain America books after I discovered him, and I just fell in love with that character. And the book that's number 2 on my Mount Rushmore is a book that I just very recently got in an AOK from a really great friend of mine. It's Natrix here on YouTube. Check him out if you haven't. His link will also be below. But the book I'm talking about is a book that I wasn't sure if I was ever going to get in my collection, but I've been after for years. And he blew me away with the AOK. The book I'm talking about is The Origin of Captain America Retold, and my earliest Captain America book, issue 109, with this beautiful Kirby cover. This is easily number 2 on my Mount Rushmore of comics. Absolutely love this book and love this story. I very carefully read it last night, and man, it's awesome, dude. Number 3 on my Mount Rushmore of comics is another book that I wanted for years and years but never could get a hold of until I believe 2020 is when I picked it up finally. And this book led to one of the greatest storylines in all of X-Men history. I'm talking about the Dark Phoenix saga. Adore that storyline, but that wouldn't have happened if this character hadn't have came first. I'm talking about X-Men 101, the first appearance of the Phoenix. The first time I saw this storyline was in the X-Men animated series, and I never thought I would have the book itself. I have a reprint for it somewhere, but finally in 2020 I picked up the original, and it still blows me away that I have this in my collection. This storyline is so amazing, and it all started with the first appearance of the Phoenix here. The Dark Phoenix saga itself didn't start, I think, until issue 134, I want to say. Or that's the first appearance of the Dark Phoenix. The storyline, I think, led up to it was issue 129. But This is the first appearance of Jean Grey as the Phoenix, and it is my number 3 on my Mount Rushmore of comics. Last but certainly not least on my Mount Rushmore, I'm going back to Superman, all the way back to the Golden Age. This was my very first ever Golden Age comic, and it was because of an extremely, just mind-blowingly generous AOK from Comic Books NYC, Kavi. This book is just, to me, it's like holding a piece of Superman history in my hands. I can't put into words how much this book means to me. It's the earliest Superman appearance I'm ever going to have. And it still blows my mind that I'm holding this book in my hands. And that is Action Comics 57. This is from 1943. The oldest overall comic in my collection. The earliest Superman appearance I have. And like I said, this is like holding a piece of history to me. It's also the fourth, I believe the fourth overall appearance of Lois Lane on the cover. And it just, I don't know what to say, man. I'm at a loss for words when I try to talk about how much this book means. And it is the number 4 on my Mount Rushmore of comics. Love this book, man. That's it for my Mount Rushmore of comics. What are y'all's Mount Rushmore of comics? Let's see them, guys. Comics with Murdoch's channel will be linked in the description below. Again, he started this challenge, so go over there and check him out. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
What did you say his power level is? It's over 9,000!